Happy Monday, practice community members. Welcome to this week's Monday message. In today's Monday message, I want to share how to model possibility for your clients without feeling like you can only share what you yourself have perfected. And maybe you can relate. And this goes beyond this few-minute message today, but I want to at least plant the seed in case you are thinking about this or have struggled with this or are currently struggling with this. You know, I hear this a lot from new coaches and seasoned coaches. How do I model? And then fill in the blank. So how do I model success? How do I model financial prosperity? How do I model growing my business? How do I model a healthy relationship, et cetera, if I myself have not arrived, quote unquote, there yet? And here's why this is a problem. If you believe that the only way you will be successful or even hireable as a coach is if you perfect the very thing you yourself want to support people to do in their own life, I guarantee you're going to be stuck in this loop of when do I actually get to do the work for a lot longer than necessary. And it comes down to two very simple differences in the type of coaching that's out on the market today. One is process-oriented marketing or coaching, and one is strategy-oriented coaching. And here's the difference. It's subtle but big. Process-oriented coaches do what I would call a series of actions or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end. What that means is the coach helps the client take a series of progressive steps over time in order to achieve the goal they have in mind. This is what we call input focused. What that means is we're focusing the work on what the client is increasing in their life. What are the inputs, the practices, the habits, the new behavior, and the repetitions we're creating that over time we can zoom out and say that process worked. The other type of coach is what I would call a strategy-oriented coach. This is someone who uses a plan of action or policy designed in advance to achieve a major overall aim. What that means is a strategy coach uses a predetermined plan of action or steps that a client then has to check off or work through to get to the goal that they had in mind. That is what we call output focused. That is a coach who is using coaching to get to the goal that the client says they want, but using the steps the coach has already predetermined on their behalf. Here's whether I think this is, easy to miss, but could really do some damage in your business. I personally, and I'm a bit biased on this, I'm a process-oriented coach. I teach coaches to be process-oriented, and I also coach my coaches who are growing their businesses to create process-oriented businesses for two really simple reasons. One, a client needs to be empowered. They need to be in the driver's seat of their experience in order for their own neurology, their own ability to make revelation ahas, draw new connections, have that experience from behind their own eyes. If it's handed to them, they can ingest it, learn it, memorize it, but unless it comes from them, they're not as likely to succeed long term. So I'm a bit biased about that. That's reason number one. Reason number two is when we're not process oriented, we don't actually know if we're checking off all the right boxes. We're making a really unfortunate assumption that the client is wired just like us, that the client comes from the same model of world as us or has the same value system as us. And when we do that, we're putting a lot of assumptions about both the skill set and the desire onto the client. And then when they're not able to accomplish that, instead of blaming the skill set or the desire, we go, well, this client just doesn't want it bad enough, which could not be further from the truth. And so if you are a process-oriented coach, perfection doesn't get to come into the arena because we don't know where we're going to go with the work. We haven't determined all the steps yet. They get created inside the container with the client. If we're a strategy-oriented coach, yes, we have to have perfected it because you're handing a pretty specific prescription to people. And if you yourself haven't lived that prescription, how are you ever going to teach it or coach it? And again, you may be a strategy-oriented coach, but if you are, be aware that this is one of those loops we're going to get ourselves into. Because here's the perfect practitioner fallacy. Most of you know exactly who you want to work with and are withholding yourself because you believe you're not perfect enough yet to warrant leading, coaching, and guiding this person that you desire to serve. And when we're able to remember that we are there to come alongside a client's process and not be 10 steps ahead of the client's process, our perfection is irrelevant to the client's ability to succeed. Here's what I keep learning. Your clients want to know they can achieve their goals, not that you can achieve their goals. And when a client believes you can achieve their goals, they're more likely to put responsibility onto you, so that if it works, then you get to take the credit and they haven't learned anything. And if it doesn't work, then you also get to take the credit and they're going to blame you for it failing. Number two, your clients want to be led by a human, a real person, a messy, vulnerable, doing their best in that moment person, a person who isn't afraid to make mistakes, who isn't afraid to take a misstep, and isn't afraid to get creative and be in the moment with the work. When we're too many steps ahead and it feels crafted and scripted, it's hard for a client to buy into. And third, your clients want to be self-empowered and back in the seat of their own North Star. What I mean by that is their path isn't your path, and it may look similar, and it may have similar characteristics or qualities or even same language, but it's not the same, because literally they're the only person walking their path, following their own inner guidance and their own North Star. So it's your turn. If you have been trying to be perfect, the perfect coach, the perfect strategist, scratch it out, cross it off. Let's return to good process-oriented coaching where our perfection is not necessary, needed, required, or even helpful to the client's process. Try on today's guidance. And as always, if you are wanting to challenge me on this, do so. Please comment below, ask questions, or if this landed in a really good place for you and you got something wonderful out of today, please share that as well. Insight is always welcome. All right, guys, have a wonderful week here in the community. Happy Monday.